SDT simulators have a real car park brake and a real car seat and seatbelt which is linked to the simulator software. It is important to start any driving in the simulator as you would a real car. That is, the park brake engaged and the seatbelt not in use. The user should not fit the seatbelt or disengage the park brake until the simulator software is open and ready for driving. In the settings and then controls menu, the keyboard letter B must be assigned to the park brake function. This can be double-clicked and reset to B. It must be set this way. Similarly, the seatbelt must be assigned to the keyboard letter S. This can be double-clicked and reset to S. There is a device we have engineered that is wired to the park brake and wired to the seatbelt. This runs through the simulator frame and is powered from a USB port. If both the park brake and seatbelt both stop registering, check the USB connection. When either the seatbelt or park brake is used, it is programmed to send the corresponding letter S and letter B to the simulator software. When the software opens, it assumes the park brake is engaged and the seatbelt is not fitted. If the driver lowers the park brake too early or fits the seatbelt too early, the software won't register this. At any time, the instructor or the driver can press the keyboard letter B or letter S to toggle the park brake and seatbelt position, provided this is correctly assigned in the controls menu. So if a mistake is made or the park brake and seatbelt are not registering, the keyboard button will still override this. If the instructor wants to stop a driver or demonstrate the dangers of pulling a park brake on in a moving car, the real park brake can be pulled up or the letter B on the keyboard can be pressed. This can also be done to cause a driver to unexpectedly lose control during their driving session. If the keyboard letter B and letter S is operating the park brake and seatbelt normally, but the real park brake and seatbelt are not registering, then there could be a problem with our device. Check the connection on the back of the park brake and check the USB port connection. You can also try moving the device to another USB port. Otherwise, try shutting down and restarting the simulator to see if this solves the issue. If all else fails, we can send you a new park brake and seatbelt device with instructions. Anyone with basic auto electrical skills can wire this into the seatbelt and connect to the park brake. So we've lifted the seat plate off the simulator and laid it on its side. And we're investigating why the seatbelt or handbrake mechanism is not working. So we use a standard road car seatbelt, and this is the electronics that in the real car detect if the seatbelt is being worn by the driver or not. And then we use a standard road car handbrake, which has in the back of its mechanism a switch, which we've stored in this black box. So when the handbrake closes, the switch here is depressed and that breaks the connection. So if the seatbelt or handbrake are not working and we've taken the seat plate off to investigate, there's a few areas that we need to check. So following the seatbelt cable comes through and we've zip tied it to several places just for security, and then it pokes through into the base plate here. And again, we've run a zip tie to try and stop it being pulled through that hole by anyone. So we've got two quick connectors here on the white cables, and then we have the Arduino unit, which has a USB, and that then runs to the computer, and that makes the seatbelt and handbrake talk to the computer and to the simulator software. So it says on the Arduino that the white cables connect to the seatbelt. So there's some spare cables here, and we've just glued this clip here and zip tied it up to keep everything tidy. And then the white cables run up to the quick connectors, which are connected to the cable that runs through to the seatbelt. So you could strip the wires, check that the wires are still connected, strip the wires and reconnect if that is seen to be a problem. And then following off the Arduino, the black wires connect to the handbrake. So one of them is earthed underneath here, and the other one then goes into this black box. We have a yellow zip tie here that's just keeping this box closed, so you would need to take that apart, and then the cover of that box will come off, and then you'll have access to a crimp that connects to the bottom of the switch in here. And I guess over time, this box could move, and we're checking that, you know, that switch is being connected there by the handbrake mechanism, open and closed, and taking the box apart and checking that the crimp is still connected to the bottom of the handbrake switch. And then if needed, we would have sent you another Arduino box, all set up, ready to go. So the white wires are already stripped for the seatbelt, and the black wires, one is earthed and one is ready with the crimp to connect underneath in this box here to the mechanism. So the idea will be, if you have to replace anything, to re-secure all the cables. This simulator, being in a prison, needs to be secure, so nothing can be taken off the simulator and used in any way. And that's why we have quite a few zip ties holding everything in place. So hopefully that gives you an overview for fixing up the Arduino.